So, good day, fellow boxing fans. We're live right now with the former WBO Bantamweight World Champion and also right now one of the best bantamweight contenders in the world, Jason Mayhem Moloney. How are you, champ? Where are you right now?
Yeah, doing really good, mate. Yeah, thank you for your time and appreciate your invitation to talk tonight.
Yes, it's a pleasure for me to have an interview with you. Many Filipino boxing fans want to hear from you. Of course, you have an upcoming fight with Tenshin Nasukawa. But before that, I just want to ask you. I'm very, very curious on your career because you and your twin brother, Andrew, is a world champion already. You're a world champion in the past. How did you and your twin brother Andrew start boxing, champ?
Yeah, we started when we were 13 years old. We tried a lot of different sports. Growing up in a family with two brothers, we tried everything. We are very competitive and loved all sports. At first, our first love was Australian rules football. Me and my brother Andrew wanted to be football players, but in the off season, a few of my friends were going down to a boxing gym just to get fit, really, and have some fun. And I decided I'd take it up, and I asked my dad if I could start boxing, and we had to sort of, I guess, beg him for a while. He wasn't too keen on me on doing boxing, but we kept we were persistent. We kept saying, "Come on, I want to go to boxing. I want to go to boxing," and eventually we started, and yeah, we just fell in love with it. So I started training when I was 13. I didn't have my first fight until I was 16, but yeah, I just loved the sport, loved to fight, and just wanted to be the best I could be.
Yes. So, well, I want to ask you right now, champ, because earlier in your career, your moniker in the ring is the smooth one. Then right now, until you became a world champion, you are now known as Jason the Mayhem Maloney. So, what is the reason behind your ring name or nickname inside the boxing ring?
That was a bit of a funny one. I've never been too big on the nicknames for myself anyway. It started off as a smooth one. I guess it was from my former coach Brian Butler. He came up with the name, and I guess it was because people would often ask what the difference was between me and Andrew, and at that stage I was a bit more of a back foot fighter and a bit more of a counter puncher, and Brian said that I was the smooth one, I guess, because that was more of my style, a bit of a mover, and a bit more of the smoother, more slicker style. Whereas Andrew was more the aggressor back in those days, and he liked coming forward, and that's where that came from. And then I guess over time my style changed, and I became a bit more aggressive, and I guess added a few different areas to my game. And Mayhem just came about because my daughter Isla, I used to call her Mayhem Moloney, because she was, I think when she was about 2 years old, I came home one day and the house was a mess, and my daughter had just been causing mayhem and it just trashed the place. And I used to call her Isla Mayhem Maloney, and then I just thought that's a cool name. It rolls off the tongue. It works with Maloney, so yeah, I stole it from my daughter.
Yes, champ. Actually, it's a very good name that Mayhem Maloney. Of course, right now you are now known as Jason the Mayhem Maloney. You are a world champion. So actually, many Filipino boxing fans know you as Jason the Mayhem Maloney than the smooth one. Because I
Yeah,
remember way back on the days earlier in your career, the fight against Emmanuel Rodriguez, you're called out as the smooth one. So I'm very curious about that one. Well, thank you for answering that question, champ.
you're
Now,
welcome.
my next question for you is actually you spoke about your style earlier. That earlier on your career, you love to fight on the back foot. And right now, actually, I love your style. You're a stylish fighter, boxing outside, using your jab, footwork, and lateral movements. So I want to ask you, how did you develop your style? Because
Sorry, you still there? Are you there, Winter? It looks like you've paused for me. I can't. Yeah, I can't hear you at the moment.
Well, sorry about that, champ. Just a little error on my connection. So I'm sorry about that.
No, all good, all good.
I want to repeat my question. I love your style. You're a stylish fighter, boxing outside, using your jab, footwork, and lateral movements. For you, how it is important that hit and not to get hit is style. The science of boxing. How important is it?
Yeah, that's always the ideal scenario is to hit and not get hit, obviously. But I think it's important to be a bit of a well-rounded fighter that can adapt and can fight many different styles. As I said, early days, and I guess more of my what come naturally to me was to box a bit more on the back foot and to bring my opponent onto my punches and counter punch a bit more. But I knew that I had to be strong in all areas, and sometimes you might need to go forward and be aggressive and be the aggressor. So it's something that I worked on, and it's probably now something that comes a bit more, I guess, natural to me now, and it's something I probably feel stronger going forward and being the aggressor. And I've always been such a fit fighter. I think I train very hard, and I'm always in great condition. So I like to be able to use that as a strength of mine, so that I can put the pressure on, go forward, and try and outwork my opponent, and I guess get them into deep waters and break them down, because I don't think there's many fighters that can go the full 12 rounds at the pace that I can. So I like to try and push that and use my strength there. So now, if I have to, I can box and I can move, and that was probably something that I did in the fight with Astrolabio. I boxed and moved a bit more against him. I hurt my hand really bad in early in that fight, and I guess it was more beneficial for me to be able to box and move and not sort of get in too much of a war with him. But if I have to, I love going forward and fighting and going to war. But I think it's important that you can do a bit of everything.
Yes. So speaking of Astrolabio, champ, he is my countryman. Vincent
Yep.
Astrolabio here in the Philippines. Actually, he is one of the favorite fighter here in the Philippines as of the moment. They said that this guy, Vincent Astrolabio, is one of the front runners to win a world title. So he will be back in February after suffering a loss against Junto Nakatani. So I want to ask you, champ, you won the WBO bantamweight world title in your third attempt against Astrolabio. How does it feel that you won the world title for the first time?
Yeah, that was obviously an amazing feeling. Becoming world champion. I think every fighter's dream is to become a world champion. So to achieve that was something that was so special to me, and a really proud moment of my life, for me and for my family and for my team and for everyone that supported me along the way. And as you touched on, I'd had two previous attempts prior to that and had fallen short. So it was really, really satisfying to finally achieve that dream. It was something that I'd chased for so long. I've been boxing for 20 years now, and to, I guess, reach the top of the mountain and become a world champion was, yeah, it was very, very satisfying. Yeah, it was a great, very hard fight against Astrolabio. I think he's a very good fighter, a very strong puncher. And I'm sure his time will come again. I was looking forward to seeing his fight with Nakatani. I thought that he would have a good fight with Nakatani and really push him. And I was looking forward to seeing how that one went. But yeah, obviously ended very early in the fight with the body shot. But yeah, look, good luck to him. I wish him all the best.
That was actually a good timing for Nakatani, and we know Nakatani is a pound for pound great as of the moment. So something went wrong with Vincent with that body shot with that straight left. We know the power of Junto Nakatani, champ. So actually, I also thought that Vincent can outland and can knock out Junto Nakatani, but something went wrong with that body shot. So I hope that he will be back, like what you said, and I hope that he will become a world champion like you on your third try. I hope that he will also be a world champion soon. And actually, champ, you put on a boxing clinic against Astrolabio, and I love your performance against Vincent Astrolabio. So, how do you feel about the power of Vincent on that fight? Does the power of Vincent Astrolabio caught your attention in that fight?
Um, Look, I didn't really get hit with anything too clean, which was good because I knew that going into the fight that he's a strong puncher. As are all Filipinos, to be honest. I've fought many Filipinos throughout my career on the way up, and obviously I've been to the Philippines on two different occasions for training camps. So done a lot of sparring with Filipinos as well, and I don't think I've ever met a Filipino who can't punch. It's just something that must be in your genetics. It's you're all very heavy-handed. So um, I knew going into that fight that he has a puncher's chance, but I felt that I was the better boxer. And as I said early in that fight, I really hurt my right hand, and yeah, did a lot of damage. So it was hard for me to really push the pace. And I thought to win this fight, I've really got to be disciplined and fight smart and use my boxing ability, which is what I did. And yeah, obviously I didn't taste his power all too much during that fight because I was able to avoid most of the heavy shots. But yeah, he's a heavy-handed guy. Like I said, like most Filipinos are, they're very explosive and very powerful fighters.
Yeah, actually, you fought with the like of Aston Palikte, which is a former world
Yeah,
title challenger, and of course Vincent Astrolabio. And actually, there are many more Filipino that you fought in Australia. So many Filipinos have that punching power that can knock out some opponent, and you are aware of that. So a great game plan for you and for your team on that fight. You outsmart and you outbox Astrolabio. So, my next question for you, champ, is this is one of my favorite fight of you against Saul Sanchez, your first world title defense. Actually, this one is an impressive performance for you as you are involved in a firefight and the fight of the year contender. How did you finish the fight until the end in an impressive way, considering the big cut you suffered on the fight?
yeah. I guess that's one that really, I guess, backs up what I was saying earlier. Is that you need to be able to adapt and you need to be able to fight different styles. And going into that fight, again, I thought that I would probably have the superior skills and that I could outbox Saul Sanchez and probably keep it long and move and box and move and just pick him off. But I was a bit flat early in that fight, and he was catching me and landing hitting me with shots that shouldn't have been hitting me with. But yeah, he came out hard, and I struggled to sort of go with him in the early rounds. And I thought this is a bit too close for my liking, and obviously I didn't want to give up my world title, so I had to make a change. And I decided to adapt and to be a bit more aggressive and go forward and back him up and try and put him on the back foot and take it to him. And yeah, I thought I finished the fight very strong. Uh, that's again where I say that I don't think many people can go with my pace for 12 rounds. And I think I really finished the end of that fight strong, rounds 10, 11, 12. The championship rounds, I really dug deep and brought it home. And that was a hard fight. One of the hardest fights in my career. As I said, I no taking no credit away from Sanchez, but I was a bit flat that night. But I just had to dig deep and push and really bite down and show how bad I wanted it. And obviously I pulled it out, and I retained my world title. Watching it back, I don't think it's my best performance, but I did what I had to do, and I held on to my belt, and that's the main thing. So and look, it was an exciting fight for the fans, which is something that I'm proud of. The atmosphere that night and the amount of people that reached out after the fight, everyone loved that fight. And as you said, it went down, and it was nominated for Fight of the Year, which is amazing, and a true honour. So it was a great fight for the fans. Not the best performance of my career, but yeah, a fun fight to watch.
Yes. So right now, champ, I want to ask you about your last fight against Yoshiki Takei. So actually, it is an unexpected for me because I think you are a much skillful fighter in boxing than Yoshiki Takei. So what went wrong on that fight? You dropped your WBO strap against a former kickboxing world champion. What happened on that fight against Takei?
Yeah, just a bad performance. Look, he was a tricky guy, tricky style. Maybe coming from that kickboxing background, maybe he was a little bit more unorthodox and awkward than what I would have imagined. But look, I just got it wrong. I'd only fought one southpaw in 10 years going into that fight, and I did a lot of good sparring in the lead up, but still when I got in the ring, I was still struggling to make sort of make the adjustments that I needed, and still struggling to sort of get into the right positions and get my rhythm and fight my style. So yeah, I struggled really to get, I guess, to work him out. I was really struggling to work him out early, and he got in a bit of a run and got his confidence up, and then started to build up the points. And again, obviously, I finished the fight very strong. I nearly stopped him in the 12th round, but ran out of time. But yeah, look, I just didn't get going. It took me too long to adjust to his awkward style, and it was a big lesson learned. And I've gone back since that fight, and I've done a lot of work with southpaws, and I've really worked on that, I guess, weak area. And now I feel so much better already against southpaws. I'm doing a lot of work with southpaws now, given that my next fight is against another southpaw. But I already feel so much better and so much more confident fighting southpaws now. And I guess it was an error on my part. I should have fought more southpaws on the way up. Only fighting one in 10 years sort of made it a bit tricky for me, but it was just hard. There's not many southpaws around in Australia, particularly, and there
Yeah.
wasn't that many southpaws that were that highly ranked on my way up. So there was just never a need to fight a southpaw, and it was very hard for me to get southpaw sparring here in Australia. So to fight a southpaw just in a stay busy fight or something just sort of never really made sense. But look, going back, I probably should have got a bit more experience up my sleeve against the left-handers. But you know, I've wrote that wrong now, and I've really worked hard since that fight to make sure that I don't make that error again. And as I said, I already feel so much better, so much more confident, and yeah, I'm looking forward to showing that in my next fight. I think a lot of people would have maybe be writing me off after that performance against Takai, and they'll think, and I think that's why they've picked me, because they think that I'm not good against southpaws. But I'm ready to show that I'm a real student of the game and a real professional, and I've made the adjustments, and yeah, the hard work will pay off, and I'll show you a much better, much more improved version of myself on February 24th.
Yes. So actually, champ, you mentioned the unorthodox style of Yoshiki Takei. So your next opponent is another former kickboxing world champion, which is Tanshi Nasukawa. Like you mentioned, he is also a southpaw, and this guy is also some kind of an unorthodox fighter. To be honest with it. So, how is your training camp heading to this Tanshi Nasukawa's fight?
Yeah, it's been really, really good. As I said, after that loss to Kai, I knew that I needed to do some work with southpaws, and I needed to improve my style fighting left-handers. And yeah, ever since that fight, I've just been working very hard to keep improving. Had great sparring already. I'm still 8 weeks out from the fight, so I'm really happy with the preparation so far. Um, since the loss to Kai, I went over to Japan again, and had a really great training camp with Seiya Satsumi, who's the new WBA world champion.
Yeah.
Um, had a great training camp over there. Got obviously got very fit over there, but got some really good sparring and picked up a lot and gave me a lot of things to work on when I got home. And then I went and had another training camp with Sam Goodman, who was supposed to be fighting Naira Nui on Christmas Eve, but he was cut, so the fight has been postponed. But yeah, had some great rounds with him too. And then since I got home, I've had some great southpaw sparring over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and yeah, I'm feeling really good already. And yeah, I've got some great sparring coming in. I don't know if you know, I've got a Filipino, Avi Deniga. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
Avi
Arvid
Deniga.
Daniega. Sandman
He,
Boxing Stable.
yes, Avi's coming over on Tuesday, so he'll be with me for 6 weeks to give me some great sparring. And yeah, I already feel great, but I'm really looking forward to the next 2 months where I can just keep continuing to work hard, sharpen up, and get ready to put on a great performance against Tenshin.
Actually, I'm looking forward to that fight, champ. And earlier you mentioned you sparred with Sam Goodman, who will fight Naoya Inoue in a rescheduled date this coming January 24 in Tokyo. So, what is your insight on that fight, champ? Do you think that Sam Goodman can pull up an upset against your former opponent, Naoya Inoue?
Oh, look, it's a very hard ask, of course. I think in a way he's probably pound for pound the best fighter in the world at the moment. He's someone that I really, really respect and rate very, very highly. Love watching him fight, and obviously after sharing the ring with him, I know how good he is. So it's very, it's a very hard ask, but I'm excited for my countryman Sam. He gets the biggest fight in boxing, and it's for the undisputed championship to win all the belts. So it's a massive opportunity, and that's what you want as a fighter. You want these big opportunities, and you know, on any given day, any fighter can be beaten, of course, and he's just got to go in there prepared the absolute best he can, which I know he was, and I know he is currently. He was in really, really good shape, and he was working extremely hard when I was in training camp with him. And yeah, I mean, it's a huge, exciting fight. You really got nothing to lose, as I did when I fought in a way. No one really thinks you're going to win that fight, but you got all you got to do is believe in yourself. Go out there, give it your best shot, and obviously a win against Inoue, it changes your life forever. You're a superstar overnight. So yeah, look, I wish him all the best. It's a very hard ask, but yeah, I really look forward to seeing how he goes, and I think it'll be a really great fight to watch.
Yes. So actually, you fought Inoue way back in the pandemic days. So can you describe his power?
Yeah, it's it's hard to describe. It's devastating, obviously. But look, it's not just his power. He's an exceptional fighter all around. His speed, his footwork, his control of distance. He's a clever boxer. It's not just his power that separates him from everyone else. But yeah, he's very powerful as well. He's got just that perfect blend of explosive speed, power, and he believes in himself, and he throws these shots with bad intentions to take you out because he backs his power, and he knows that he's willing to take one to give one because he knows that he's a very strong puncher. And yeah, I mean, I got hit a few times early in the fight and sort of thought this is okay. This is nothing that I haven't felt before. But then the two punches that he dropped me with were just so fast that I didn't even see the punches. And obviously, when you don't see the punch, they're the ones that are really going to do the damage. So, they were the ones that really hurt me. The first was a left hook, and that was a bit of a flash knockdown. I recovered quickly from that one, but the right hand that finished the fight was, the biggest punch you'd ever want to be hit by. And yeah, that had a lot on it and a lot of power.
Yes. So let's go back to your fight against Tenshin Nasukawa. Actually, champ, how does preparing for Tenshin Nasukawa different from your previous training camp?
Look, I know obviously he's still a southpaw. He's still coming from the kickboxing background. There's similarities, but his style is quite different to Tenshin. It's a very different style to Tenshin. Sorry, Tenshin style is very different to Kai's style.
Yeah.
He's not as tall, he's not as long, he's not as rangy. His feet aren't as spread. He doesn't have the same sort of style. So there's differences there. But for me, it's just about improving myself as a fighter. And as I said, obviously, I knew after the loss to Kai that I had a lot of areas to work on, and I've been working hard, and I'm already feeling so much more confident and so much better, and already added a lot of tricks to my game against the left-handers, and I really feel like I've started to work them out really well. And yeah, I'm really really looking forward to getting in there and showing my improvements because I know that people probably think that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and at 33 they think that I can't improve much more, but I have, and I'm looking forward to showing that.
I think you will gonna give him a hard fight, and I think he is. You are the first um legitimate contender and the former world champion that will gonna face him, champ. And many boxing fans knows that. And actually, champ, I want to ask you on this one. Do you see any weak side or weaknesses on your opponent Tanshin Nasukawa that you can take advantage on the fight?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely lots of weaknesses, and I won't go into too many stylistic weaknesses, but one that you just spoke about then is definitely he has not fought anyone near my level as a professional boxer. And I don't know about kickboxing. I don't follow kickboxing. I don't know. I know he obviously accomplished a lot in his career as a kickboxer, but it's a different sport. And since coming over, he's obviously only had the 5 professional boxing fights, and he hasn't fought anywhere near the level of opposition that I have, or anyone close to my level as a fighter. So, this is a big step up for him, and I respect him and I respect his team for taking this big step up. But I plan on showing the this is a step too far for him, and I'm going to use all my experience and all my skills, and I'm going to show him that this is there's levels, and he's not ready for this level. So I'm training hard to make sure that I produce the performance that I know I'm capable of.
Yes, champ. So I want to look forward on this one, your fight against Tenshin. But before your fight against Tenshin, if you win against Tenshin Nasukawa, what is the next plan of Jason Moloney? Which fighter are you targeting next?
I'm not really looking past tension. This is a
Yeah.
very very important fight for me. A fight that I have to win. I can't afford to lose this fight. So I'm not really looking past this, but obviously I know that it opens big doors for me in my career. Not only because he's ranked so high, you know, Tension is rated number 2 in the WBA and he's rated number 3 in the WBC. So a win over him will put me at the very top of the rankings, I hope, and it'll get me a world title shot. And who that's against, I don't know, and I don't really care, to be honest. As long as I get a chance to fight one of the champions, I'm happy. Um, I'd love a rematch with Sakai and get my revenge there. But look, it's just about focusing on tension at the moment, making sure I win this fight. And as I said, I know that it will open up some big doors, and I'll look forward to what comes next.
I love your mindset, champ. You are not too overconfident against Tenshin Nasukawa and you still respect Tenshin Nasukawa as a fighter. Right now, I want to ask you this one. Who do you think is the best bantamweight champion today? As we all know, we have Junto Nakatani, we have Seiya Tsutsumi, we have Ryosuke Nishida, and we have your former opponent, Yoshiki Takei. Who is the best bantamweight champion as of today in your own perspectives?
The most proven and yeah, the most proven champion would have to be Nakatani. I think he's probably the
Yeah.
strongest of the champions at the moment. Um, yeah, obviously, I think he's held on to his belt for a long time now. He's fought and beaten some very good fighters, including my brother. So, yeah, I think he's probably the strongest bantamweight at the moment. Um, will be interesting to see what he does. I know there's obviously talks about him going up to fight in a way, whether that's this year or next year, who knows? But yeah, I think Nakatani is probably the hardest in the division at the moment.
Yeah. So actually, you mentioned it. Your twin brother Andrew lost against Nakatani via 12 round knockout. Do you want to face Nakatani in the future? And do you want to take revenge in behalf of your brother?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'd love that fight. As I've shown, I'm willing to fight anyone in the world, and I want the biggest, the hardest, and the best fights possible. And obviously, he's a champion as well, and it's my dream to become a world champion again, and that's what I'm working hard towards. So, yeah, I would love that fight. As I said, I think he's the hardest fight in the division, but I've always been one that wants to test myself against the absolute best, and I've stepped in and fought against the pound for pound best in a new way, and yeah, I definitely love that fight, and I believe that I'd give Nakatani a very, very tough fight. I believe I can beat him, and yeah, we'll see if that fight presents itself. But as I said, at the moment, it's all about Tenshin Nasukawa.
Yes, champ. So actually, I'm done with my last two questions for you. First of all, I want to thank you first for giving some time to me and to some Filipino boxing fans that wants to hear from you about your upcoming fight against Tenshin. So my next question for you, champ, is: are you planning to move up in the super bantamweight division in the near future, considering that you won a world title in the bantamweight division?
No, it's probably not something that at the moment that I'm thinking of doing. I can make the bantamweight limit quite well. It obviously takes a lot of discipline, but it's something I'm still doing, still managing quite well. And I think that the opportunities at bantamweight are much stronger at the moment. You move up to 122, and obviously it's Inoue's got all the belts, and he's got his schedule pretty tightly planned for the next 12 months plus. So it's a hard division to get a title shot at the moment. If a great opportunity came at 122, I would go there. I've fought at 122 quite a lot early in my career. I think my first 15 fights were at super bantamweight. So I can do that, and if the opportunity was there, I would. But at the moment, I think bantamweight's my division, and my goal is just to become champion again at bantamweight.
Yes. So down to my last question, champ. Um, what can we expect for the Moloney twins this year?
Well, what we've been chasing our whole career now is to both be world champions at the same time. We come very close a few times. Obviously, Andrew is a former super flyweight world champion, and I'm a former bantamweight champion, but we haven't managed to both be champions at the exact same time. So that's something that we've always really wanted to do. And hopefully, this is the year. We've both got some big fights on the horizon, and some great opportunities, and we're working hard to make it happen. So, um, yeah, hopefully, this is the year 2025. Team Moloney, both world champions. So yeah, that's the dream, and we're working hard. And yeah, thank you to everyone that supports us along the way.
Yeah, I hope those dreams will come true soon. Hopefully this year, I would want to see both Jason and Andrew Moloney to become a world champion at the same time. So, what are your message to your boxing fans, Champ Jason Moloney? What is your message to the Filipino boxing fans? Why we should look forward in your next fight against Tenshin Nasukawa?
Yeah, well, I guess my message is just thank you to everyone for your support. I really appreciate everyone who supports me and my boxing career. And thank you to yourself for your time tonight. And thank you to all the Filipino fans and people. Filipinos are such beautiful people and such great boxing people. As I said, I've been and trained in the Philippines on two different training camps and in Cebu, and had a great time and made some really good friends over in the Philippines. And yeah, such beautiful people. So thank you for your support, and yeah, stay tuned. Some exciting big fights this year, and I'll be world champion again very soon. So thank you for your support.
Yes, Champ. By the way, thank you again for lending us some time to talk about your fight against Tanshin Nasukawa. But another last thing, can we take a photo?
Yes, of course, mate.
Yeah,
Of
of
course.
course. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, champ, for your time again. Hopefully, you will gonna get the victory against Tanshin Nasukawa. I hope you well and good luck to your upcoming fight. Be safe always, and I will pray for your victory, champ. Thank you.
Thanks very much, mate. I
Yeah,
appreciate your
thank you
time.
so much,
Take
champ.
care.
Thanks, champ. Bye.
Bye, mate. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the former WBO Bantamweight World Champion, Jason the Mayhem Moloney.